you're going to discuss on the course content today, and then we'll start with the basics of success factors.
Did you
Okay.
email us the course content or
No, the course content has not been emailed. I think
okay?
some of you must have interacted with Krishna or Hari.
Oh, I didn't ask him for that.
Okay then, yeah. Let me quickly walk you through the course content, what we'll be covering in next 25 sessions or next 35 to 40 days. Okay. So all of you will be given access to material recordings, everyday recordings, and then system access as well. Okay. So let me open the course content. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So first day, generally, we'd be talking about the roles and responsibilities of a SuccessFactors consultant. Okay. So after getting into SuccessFactors consultant role, what would be our responsibility? What would we be doing in the organizations? Okay, when you join any implementation partner, any organization. So what would be our responsibility as a consultant? Okay, so that we'll be discussing. And then system landscape. The first thing that we should know before we start any of the project is the system landscape. How many systems that we would be accessing, and what are those types of systems that we have in the success factors. Okay, so that we'll be covering in day 1. And day 2 will start with the release management. Success factors releases or success factors upgrades the application once in 6 months. And as a consultant, it is our responsibility to know what are those new release features which have come in, because there might be some features which were not available earlier but are available now. Okay, in this system. So it could be the additional functionalities, or it could be the existing functional changes in the existing functionality. So every 6 months, success factors upgrades these, and we need to know, as a consultant, we need to know these things. We need to educate customer, and we should also get the knowledge of the release functionalities. And then we'll talk about certification and how to keep the certification active. It is very important to have certification in success factors. If you want to get into success factors, the first thing that your interviewer asks you is, the first question that you will be getting is whether you have the certification or not, and if that certification is active or not. So how do we do this certification? So, what is the URL to get into certification, from where we do the certification, how much does it cost to do certification? That will be talking in day 2. Day 3 will start with the Partner Edge portal, where I'll show you how to download the documents related to implementation. So for project related, how many documents we need and what are those documents? Now, how do we use each of those documents? Okay. So the implementation guide, configuration workbook, kickoff template. So all of these are available in Partner Edge portal. And we'll see how to access this portal, how to download these documents, and how do we use these documents. So day 4, we'll be covering all of the basics like implementation methodology. So the important URLs that we'll be using in the implementation. So all of this we'll be covering on day 4. So day 5, we start with the practical part. From day 5 onwards, everything would be in the system. So we start with the setting up the provisioning system. So we will go through the implementation sequence. SuccessFactors gives us the implementation sequence, the configuration guide, the steps to implement SuccessFactors application to customers. So we just follow those steps. Okay, as part of that implementation guide or implementation steps of sequence, so we start with the provisioning setup. There are two types of systems basically. One is the provisioning and the second is instance. We'll talk more about this provisioning and instance in the coming sessions. Okay, so we'll start with the provisioning setup, and day 5 we'll be talking everything about the provisioning, and day 6 we start with the instance setup. There is a concept of data models which is very, very important. You'll be getting some questions definitely in every interview that you face, or every implementation that you do, or even in your certification also you get around 8 to 10 questions from this area. So data models are very important concept. So day 6 we'll be talking about all of the data models that are available in system and what are each of those data models used for. So how do we use these data models? And day 7, we'll start with the first data model. So day 6, we will just discuss what are the available data models and how do we use each of those data models. So that is discussed in day 6, and day 7, we'll start with the corporate data model for the first data model. So how to modify this data model, how to change, and how to use this in the projects that we discuss in day 7. Day 8, there's one more data model called country specific corporate data model. And then we start setting up the objects in the system. So there are different kinds of objects. We'll discuss what are those kinds of objects and how does this each objects fit in for every implementation. And we'll start maintaining the data from day 9. So we'll have to first set up organization structure, job structure, and pay structure required for the organization. So that we'll be doing in session 9, 10, 11, and 12. Setting up of all of the objects. So how do we create a company? How do we create a department? How do we create a position? So how do we add the information into this, and how do we change the attributes or the screen fields? So those we'll be discussing till day 12. Day 13, we will look at hiring of an employee using all of the elements or objects that we have created, like company, business unit, division, department, job code, locations, pay component. So using all of these elements, we would be hiring an employee or adding an employee into the system. I'm sorry. So what are the different ways of hiring an employee? And what method do we use to add employee into the system? So what fields are mandatory? How to control this visibility of the fields, or how to control the attributes of the fields? That we'll see in day 13. So now till day 13, we'll be doing everything, maintenance of everything manually, like creation of a company manual. So what fields are available, what fields are mandatory, what are each of those fields, and how do we create individual elements or each employee. From day 14 and day 15, we'll look at the bulk maintenance of data. If customer want to add 1,000 locations at a time, or 1,000 positions at a time, or 100 employees at a time, so how do we manage this? So bulk data can be maintained using different tools. So we'll see how to import employee data, import this foundation or the generic objects. And 16, now till day 15, we have some set of employees available with us. Okay, so using those employees, we'll see how to set up the security part of it. Now, when an employee logs into the system, anybody, let's say if I am working for one of the organization where SuccessFactors is being used as HR application. So when I log into the system, what can I see? What can I edit? What I cannot see? Okay, so those are controlled through permission. If I'm an employee, I have a different view. If I'm a manager, I'm also an employee. So I can do all of those things what employee is doing. Additionally, because I'm a manager, I have some direct reports reporting to me. I also do some actions for those employees. So those are controlled through permissions. If I'm a HR manager, so I'm also an employee. I'm also a manager with direct reports, and Additionally, I'm also HR manager. So I should be able to hire employees. I should be able to terminate employees, transfer employees, promote employees, suspend employees. So all of these are additional activities which I do. So depending on the role that is tagged to that user, when I log in, I see different views. And this is controlled through permissions. So how do we add or how do we set up these permissions? That we see in day 16. Day 17, we will see how to create workflows. Workflows are nothing but approvals which can be configured for any process. It could be for personal information change. It could be change in the location or change in the manager or change in department or change in grade or change in salary. So whenever you do these actions, if you want approvals to be triggered, we must be taking some kind of approvals. So these approvals can be one level of approval, two levels of approval, three levels of approval, depending on the organization. So different customers uses different approval process. So maybe some customers may want to have one level of approval, which should go to manager, or two levels with manager and manager's manager, or three levels, the HR director or HR manager or the department head should be approving. So we can configure different workflows or different approvals in the system. So what all roles are recommended or can be configured in the system, that we see in day 18. Day 17. And then day 18, 19, 20, we will see how to validate the data, how to default the data on the screen, how to calculate or auto calculate few things, or auto generate the numbers. So all of this through logics. And these are configured through a concept called business rules. We'll see how to write a business rule to do different activities. It could be validate, it could be calculate, it could be defaulting some data or propagating some data, or writing a business rule for event reasons or workflow. So all of this we'll see till 2021 sessions. So 21 will execute the workflows. Will execute and see how to approve the workflows, how to control the workflows. If I have to add an approver, remove an approver, modify an approver, or update an approver, or change the approver in a particular step. So all of those things we'll see in 21. 22 would be on the custom fields and custom portlets. SuccessFactors allows us to create custom fields in any of the portlet. Like within personal information, we have some set of fields: first name, last name, display name, gender, salutation, nationality. So these are all standard fields which are available for every customer. We can enable or disable these fields depending on customer's requirement. However, system also allows us to create some additional custom fields. If a customer feels that a particular field is not available or is not given by SuccessFactors, we can configure that field. So how to add the custom fields, how to customize the product. We can also add custom sections or custom portlets, the entire section. Like personal information is a block, job information is a block, comp information is a block where you put salaries, address information is a portlet where you add the address details of the employee. Like this system, SuccessFactors gives us many portlets. But if your customer feel that they want to have additional portlets, we can configure them. We can have up to 250 custom blocks in this in SuccessFactors application. No customer uses these many, but we have these many custom blocks which can be configured. You can add standard fields or you can add custom fields. You can build your own logic. All of these things in day 22. 23, we'll be talking about the position management. Again, very important concept. You will have 8 to 10 questions in certification from position management. So how do we create positions? What all positions can be created? So how these positions are used for hiring? What happens when you use a position, or what happens when you terminate an employee, or when you terminate a manager? What happens to that position? What happens to all the direct reports who are reporting to that employee who we are terminating? So all these things we'll discuss in day 23. And day 24, we talk about the themes. Different customers want to have the system in different views. Like I want to have, let's say, a company called PepsiCo want to have their instance in blue and white combination. Similarly, a company called Coke want to see their instance in red and white combination. So different companies uses different themes, okay, and different logos or different pictures. So we can have all of this in system using theme managers. We will be looking at reports, how to generate reports, how to create reports, how to schedule these reports in the system, how to migrate the data from one system to other system. So that is the transport center. And we'll see how to personalize the instance. So this completes the entire the employee central topics, and day 25 additionally will be having one more session which is not included here. That would be like interview questions. What questions would be asked in your interviews? So how do we prepare for interviews? And now this would be like a recap of all of the topics that we have discussed now, important points or important questions that you would be getting either in your certifications or in interviews. That we'll be discussing in day 25. So every day we'll be having 1 hour of session, and we do it through Monday to Friday, 5 hours or 5 sessions in a week. Since we have these 25 sessions, so it goes on for 5 weeks, 5 into 7, 35 days. So additionally, if there are any holidays in between, so it goes on from 35 to 40 days. Again, 24 or 25 sessions are what we have planned, but again, sometimes it may happen that you want to have some additional session on a particular topic. Maybe you want to see some more scenarios, or maybe you have some doubts related to a particular topic and you want to have additional information. We can have that. So sometimes it gets extended to 26, 27, 28 sessions. Okay, so I'll take a pause and see if you have any doubts so far in the course content.
In this one, proxy topic also will be covered.
Yes, during the workflows session, we'll be looking at how do we proxy as any employee. So what all can be done through proxy? That would be discussing.
Okay, sir.
It's not as a separate topic, but it's part of your workflows or
In
any
how
other
many
areas.
ways we can log in proxy, that also will be covered, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sir.
Sir, will you help us in resume preparation as well?
Yes, we'll be sharing you all these, some set of resumes where you can, take out some points and, take out some of the projects and add it into your resumes.
Okay.
This position management, like entire topic will be covered because position management mostly from the RCM module.
No, position management is not from RSM. Positions are always created in EC, and there are many things which are linked with the position. So when you're hiring an employee, you will be using a position. So system picks up all of the data from position and then adds that information to employee. So when you terminate an employee, termination is done in EC. When you terminate an employee, what happens to that position? Do you want to keep that position for next hire? Do you want to deactivate the position? What happens to the positions which are reporting to that position? So positions are basically created in EC, maintained in EC. But the recruitment starts from creating a requisition from a position. So recruiter will go and see what are the vacant positions available in EC, and those vacant positions are converted into requisitions. Requisition, when you create a requisitions, all of the data that we have created in position gets into requisition. And from there onwards, RCM or recruiter will do the hiring process. sourcing process. Again, till offer acceptance. Now, recruiter posts the requisition, converts the position into requisition, posts the requisitions internally, externally. Candidates apply on these requisitions, and then recruiters process the candidates even in different phases of interviews, and then the selected candidate would be offered. And once the candidate accepts the offer letter, that's when you push all of this information of the candidate to EC, and we hire the employee. We add that employee into the system in AC.
After accept the offer letter, it will go to onboarding module.
It depends on customer to customer. It is not mandatory that every customer has to use onboarding module.
Okay.
Okay. So if customers are using onboarding, then once candidate accepts the offer letter, the information will flow to onboarding, where candidate will be given a portal or URL to log in and fill certain information. So all of this information will be filled. On the day of hiring, again, we do the hiring in AC. So it depends. Like customers can use RCM, customers can use RCM and onboarding. Okay. There are customers who don't use RCM and onboarding modules. They directly add, they do all of this process offline and just add the information in EC.
Okay.
So that we'll see in adding employee. So how do we add employee, and what are the ways of hiring an employee? What if customer is using RCM? What if customer is using RCM and onboarding? And what if customers are not using RCM and onboarding?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Any other doubts?
So workflows in the sense like let's say a senior let's say one termination has to be approved by two managers. That is what the example you are telling, right? It's like let's
No.
say
Let me give you. Okay. Now, if I am transferring an employee, I cannot just go and move an employee from one location to other location. So I may have to take some approvals. Maybe I should inform the manager of that employee. Say there is an employee who is reporting to a manager. Every employee in the organization should be reporting to some other employee who is a manager. Okay, manager reports to another manager. We call it manager's manager. And then it goes on till the highest level, CEO or MD or whoever is there on the topmost position. Okay. Now, whenever a user or whenever a HR does some action, so it could be a simple example. Let's say I am applying a leave. Okay, I am an employee. I am applying a leave. Somebody has to approve my leave, right? Now, who is that somebody? Some organizations, they say, whenever employee applies for a leave, it should go to their manager. Manager has to approve, one level of approval. And then once manager approves, leave would be deducted from employee's quota. Now, some organizations, what they do, now manager and HR should also approve. HR should also have information, so HR should also be approving the request. So once manager approves, the request goes to HR. HR can either accept or reject. Once HR accepts, again, leave would be deducted from employees' quota. So these are approvals. Now these approvals, this is an example of just leave. So maybe I want to change my address. I'm going and changing my details. It could be my first name, last name, or address, or something I'm changing. So now before this data gets updated into the system, I want somebody to validate and see whether you are updating it correctly or not, whether you have attached relevant information or not. You're updating your address. So do you have that address proof? Okay. So somebody has to validate. So should go to HR, who would be validating the data and approving or rejecting. Maybe if some additional information is required, so HR would be taking that, and then when they receive, they would be approving the request. So this can be for any process. While termination also, when you're terminating an employee, or if employee has resigned, maybe it should go through some approvals. Manager has to approve, or department head has to approve, or employee must have taken some IT assets. Those IT assets are to be returned. So IT people has to go and submit all of those assets which are issued to the employee. Or maybe to some other department, finance departments, they will have to go and see if there are any dues from employee. So they will be submitting some of the dues. So various departments or various persons would be involved in approving the request in workflows. Okay, so to see how to configure this, okay, and what all ways we can use, like what happens if somebody is not approving the request? What happens, when if it is to be escalated? If someone is not approving, I want this to be escalated. After how many days you want this to be escalated? But even before escalating, I want it system to send a reminder. So how do we send reminders to approvers? So these things we'll be doing in workflows. Okay.
Okay. So our EC module can exist without our recruitment and onboarding also, right? The landscape.
Yes. See, success factors, any of the modules can be implemented without dependency.
We'll also be discussing like how the process flows between all the three modules.
Yes. We will not be looking at other modules,
Yeah.
recruiting, onboarding. So there is a lot of information. So you need to have the complete understanding of what all information that we fill in recruiting or onboarding to understand how the information or what information is flown to EC. So the basic understanding we'll be looking at.
So that integration and everything, but success factors will be taking in the back end, like it does not require separate integration kind of thing, like how we
No,
do EC
for
and EC.
within the modules of success factors, like data flows from RCM to EC, EC to PMGM, or PMGM to EC. So all of this happens without any interface. That's inbuilt process.
No need of any special permissions or something. Just
No,
it will be available.
there is a job which we schedule in the provisioning that's called HRIS sync. I'll show you how to sync the data within the modules.
So once we get this, we as an EC consultant, we used to interact those other consultant and figure out what we have to do.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between this integration and like in the module you can show that HRIS sync. So what is the difference between both of them?
Integration or interface, we use different customers uses different interfaces. Okay, when do we need the interface or integration between the applications? If you want to transfer data from one application to other applications, your customer is using success factors for HR data, and time data is maintained in Kronos. Let's say they are using one application called Kronos, where your all of your time is captured whenever whenever you punch in your card. Okay, let's say you're logged into the organization. When you're logging into organization, or when you start your day, so you punch in, and when you come out of the office, you punch out. So system will be tracking. There would be some system which would be tracking all of your in and outs. So how many days you have attended office, or how many days you have not attended, and how many leaves you have taken. How many, some organizations, they may follow these things very strictly. Like every day you should be in office for 8 hours, or you should be in office at least for 6 hours. Now, weekly you should be covering 40 hours, minimum of 40 hours. So there would be different conditions. So all of these punch-ins and punch-outs would be recorded in a time system. So it can be different systems. It can be anything. Okay. So all of this data gets stored in your time system. And this time system you want to maintain, or you want to get this data to SuccessFactors application. So, or maybe employees would be applying leaves in SuccessFactors. So the leaves are to flow to the time system as well. So system should know how many days employee is there and how many days employees has taken a leave. Okay, so all of these punch-ins and punch-outs should be required for your payroll processing. So the payroll processing happens in a different application. Maybe some payroll, ADP payroll, or some payroll system or SAP HCM. So SuccessFactors sends the employee data. Who is that employee? When did the employee join? How many days employees are present? So some data has come from Kronos or time system. And what is this employee's salary? So all of this information is available in EC or in SuccessFactors. This data would be sent to your payroll system. So different systems are involved for different processes. So these systems are connected through an interface. Again, it can be any interface. Some uses Dell Boomi, some uses CPI Cloud Platform Integration, some uses HANA Cloud Integration, HCI. So different customers uses different interface tools to integrate these systems. Okay, there we will be using interface. Whereas the data within the SuccessFactors, we have different modules like Employee Central, where you maintain all of the master data. You have performance management where you do the appraisals, compensation module where you do the salary revisions and bonus calculations, recruiting where you source the candidate. So different modules are used for different processes. And recruiter should have the information about EC. So how does system know who is a recruiter, who is a hiring manager? Okay, so that is maintained in EC. And the data flows from EC to RCM. The position data goes to RCM. Candidate information is sent back to EC for hiring. Some information is sent to appraisals. So while doing the appraisals, we should know who is that candidate, what information, who is that employee, what are the roles of that employee, what designation the employee is in, okay, what are the goals of that employee or objectives of the employee, and what is the final rating. That final rating is, again, should be pushed back to EC. So different modules need different information from different portlets, different modules. Okay, that information will be transferred or will be fetched from one module to the other module. So this we do it through sync. Within SuccessFactors, if the data is to be moved, then we do it through HRI sync.
Okay, so PMS and recruitment, everything, if that is in SuccessFactors, so we can fetch the data.
Yes.
Okay.
If customers are using performance management or recruiting management in a different application, if your customer says, I don't want to use SuccessFactors, I have my own application for recruiting or I have my own application for performance management, then how does that system get the data from SuccessFactors? That is through interface.
Okay, but this synchronization part can be, taken the session, sir. How we can
Yes.
sync the data within the modules SuccessFactors.
Yes.
You can take a session on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sir.
Sir, if we are using the out of the success factors systems, so from our end, we will be providing what are the field data, whatever that has to be flown out, and what are the fields that has to be populated in success factors. That will be only our part, right? So the rest of the part
Yes.
will be taken by the integration
Taken
engineer.
by the integration team. Yes.
Okay. And there
Okay.
will be another engineer from the Kronos side.
Yes.
Okay.
Like how you are SuccessFactors expert or SuccessFactors consultant, you will also have Kronos or HCM consultant.
Okay. So that questionnaire or something will be coming from them, or else we should provide them that, okay, this is the data that has to flow out, or this is the data they have to send it.
You know about SuccessFactors, right? So they will be asking, so what information is required by that system? So they will be asking you, and you'll have to provide. And you want to have some data coming from Kronos system, you should tell what information is required.
So we will also be knowing what all the success factor is compatible with the outside technologies, right? Platforms.
It
That
can be integrated with any application. There is no such restriction or limitation that it can be only integrated or it can be only connected with certain applications.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll start with the first topic, the roles and responsibilities of a SuccessFactors consultant. So after getting into SuccessFactors, so what will we be doing in the organizations? Okay. So there are different types of projects here: implementation and support. These are the two types of project that we have. Meaning configuring the system as per customer's requirement. Your customer doesn't have now. Who is a customer? Let's talk about these terms. Who is a customer? The end user who is going to use SuccessFactors application. They are called customers. Let's say I am working for PepsiCo and my company is using SuccessFactors for employees' data. Now, as an employee, if I have to apply a leave, I will log into SuccessFactors application. As an employee, if I have to look at my payslip or download my payslip or download my appraisal, I can go to SuccessFactors application because now my company is using SuccessFactors for all the HR information. So the end user is called a customer. Then implementation partner, who configures or who set up the system for customers? It is the implementation partner. Not everybody can go and implement SuccessFactors for customer. Tomorrow, let's say you have learned SuccessFactors and no, you cannot say that I'll go and implement for a customer. No, you'll not be allowed to do the implementation. Firstly, you need to be associated or you need to be partnered with SAP. SuccessFactors is a product of SAP. And SAP cannot implement SuccessFactors for every customer across the globe. There are thousands of customers. And SAP cannot implement for all of them. So SAP has given license or partnered with some organizations. They're called implementation partners, like Deloitte, Wipro, IBM, Accenture, Capgemini, Cognizant. So all of these are the implementation partner. They have license to implement SuccessFactors to customers. I cannot say no, why? Because I know SuccessFactors, I cannot say that I'll go and implement. No, SAP doesn't allow you to do that. And same as your franchisee. If I have to, oh, let's say I want to have a McDonald's burger. So where can I get it? I'll only get it from the nearest franchisee. I need to see where is the nearest outlet. I cannot get that in any of the supermarkets or no roadside shops. Because somebody has taken a franchisee, only they are allowed to sell their products. Similarly, SuccessFactors, since it is a product of SAP, SAP would be giving license to implement for customers. And those partners who are associated with SAP are called implementation partners. And these implementation partners would be hiring the consultants. So all of us would be hired by implementation partner. And we are consultants who would be working on projects. Let's say Deloitte is an implementation partner. Deloitte has a project called HSBC. So HSBC is a customer for Deloitte. And from Deloitte, we will be working on HSBC project. Once that project is completed, we'll move to a different project. Maybe PepsiCo will move to a next project called PepsiCo. PepsiCo is another customer. Coke is another customer. HDFC is another customer. Some matrix, companies are. So different customers are tied up with different implementation partners. Okay. Clear about this topic? For these terms, customer, implementation partner, and consultant. Okay. So we do two types of projects for any customer. One is the implementation. So implementation, your customer doesn't have SuccessFactors application with them. So we will understand the requirement of your customer and we implement SuccessFactors. SuccessFactors contains thousands of functionalities, hundreds of features. Not every feature is required by every customer, and different customers follow different processes. And this is set up in system by consultants, and this is called the implementation. We go sit with customer, understand the requirements of the customer, configure the system, test the system, and hand it over to customer. That is your implementation. And one good thing about SuccessFactors is every customer who is using SuccessFactors should have a support team working with them. That means if a customer HSBC is using SuccessFactors, then they should also have a support team to support them. Support, we do it for different activities. We do incident management in support. Incident management means customer is facing some issue while doing some activity. Whom should they reach out to? They should be reaching out to support team through a ticketing tool. They create an incident, that they create a ticket saying that we are facing this issue while doing this, while hiring employee, while transferring employee, or while maintaining the data. And we are getting this error. Please fix it. So we'll be getting that incident. We'll have to log in, see, analyze, fix the issue. That is done through incident management. How much time you have taken to fix that issue? Now, is it a configuration issue? Is it a knowledge gap? Or is it a new requirement? We'll analyze that. We fix it and customer will again start using that. Next is change management. You have done implementation. We have done the configuration as per customer requirement, but after using a particular functionality for 6 months or 1 year, customer has now a new requirement. They want to add a field into one of the portlet, one of the block, or they want to change the process. Earlier, they were following 3 steps of approval for a particular action, but now they want to have only 2 levels, or they want to have 4 levels. So what is that additional step, or what is the step that we have to delete? So that comes as a change. Customer will ask you to change the configuration in the system. So we'll have to analyze and see how much time does it require to change that in the system. You need to give the effort estimation. Okay, once customer agrees, we'll go and do that change. We configure it, we test it, and we deploy it to customer. So that is the change management. And then we also have release management. SuccessFactors upgrades the product every 6 months. Every 6 months, we have this release, and we do. Now somebody has to go see what are those new functionalities which has come in that release. Okay, how does it impact the system? Okay, is there any additional configuration that we have to do? So all of these things will be doing in release management. We should be educating the customer that these are the new functionalities, the screen is changed, or there's a new feature which is available in the system which is useful. We need to educate, or we need to communicate all of this with the customer. So these are the responsibilities of a consultant in support and in implementation. Any doubts here? Roles and responsibilities. Now, we don't have different roles like a technical consultant. Now, in general, SAP has got different roles. a functional consultant who configures the system, a technical consultant who develops or who customizes the product, a workflow consultant who configures the workflows, the ESS consultant who takes care of the employee self-service portals, a basis consultant or a security consultant or a GRC consultant who takes care of security. Okay, so we have these many roles in SAP HCM or SAP. But in SuccessFactors, we don't have these many roles. We only have one role called functional consultant who would be doing all of this. As a consultant, we configure the system, we customize the system, we set up the workflows, we set up the security. So all of these are done by functional consultant. So the consultant, different customers or different implementation partners may use different terminology, like associate consultant or a junior consultant, consultant or a lead consultant or a senior consultant. Okay, so these are different terms that we use. But everybody does the same job. Okay.
Just for this release, every 6 months EC will get updated. Huh? So
Not only EC, every module of SuccessFactors gets updated.
okay. So in that case, do we get notified by anything like these are the changes we have got, or we only have to explore ourselves?
Now, there is a portal called community.successfactors.com. I'll be telling you about the release management, how to know what features have come in, how to see those features, okay, how to document them. That we'll be discussing, in tomorrow's session. But yes,
Yeah.
as a consultant, you should go check what are those new release functionalities, whether they are applicable for your customer or not. And then you will have to test, document it, and present it to customer.
Okay.
That's our responsibility in release management.
As a functional consultant, we need to have certification.
Yes. Everybody who wants, or no, every aspirant who want to get into SuccessFactors should have certification.
Okay.
Okay. Any other doubts in roles and responsibilities? Okay. Next topic is on the types of system. There are two types of system. One is called the provisioning, and second is called the instance. Provisioning and instance. Provisioning is like a back-end system, and provisioning can only be accessed by certified consultants. Only to log into provisioning, you need your certification. Only certified consultants can log into provisioning system. We'll see how to log into provisioning or who gives the provisioning, that we'll see. But only the certified consultant can log into provisioning. So what do we do in provisioning? We do the 5% or 5 to 10% of configuration in provisioning system. It's not actually configuration, it is enabling or disabling the services. Within Employee Central, we have many areas. We have many features like global assignment. This is required only for customers who operate from different countries. Not required for every customer. If a customer operates only from one country, they don't need global assignment. If they want to use global assignment, we'll have to enable it first in provisioning. Rest of the configuration, we do it in instance, like 90 to 95% of the configuration, we do it in instance. And this doesn't require any certification. But to do that configuration, first you need to enable that service from provisioning, which requires certification to log into provisioning. Okay, global assignment is one example. So we have concurrent employment, multiple employments within the organization, contingent workforce, about contractor data. What do you want to use it for your workflows, business rules or XML? So different functionalities we enable it in provisioning, and to access provisioning system, we need certification. Though we only do 5% to 10% of the entire configuration, this is required to set up before you go and do the configuration instance. Without enabling a functionality in provisioning, you will not see that those features in instance. The entire configuration is done in instance. A global assignment, you enable it in, or time management, your leave management is enabled in provisioning. Once you enable the leave management, you come back to instance and do the configuration. What is the type of the leaves that are required? How many leaves are to be granted? What should be the starting date? What should be the end date? Is there any workflow to be configured? Can it apply? Can a user apply on the weekends or the weekdays? So all of this configuration, we do it in the instance. But to do that configuration, we need to set up these things in provisioning. So these are the two systems that we have. And all of you will be given access to instance, but not provisioning. We'll see how or what are the features that we have to enable in provisioning. Then everybody will be given access to instance. You can log in and do the configuration. Okay. Clear on types of system?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we will stop it here for today since it is a first day. I'm not taking too much of topics. In tomorrow's session, we'll talk about the landscape. We'll talk about certification. We'll talk about more about the configuration. Okay.
Sir, this document can be shared, no? Like to the
Yes.
morning.
Now this document will be shared at the end of the training, not every day.
Okay.
Okay. So you can make a habit of noting down the important points that you feel that is required for you. You can have for running notes as well. So we'll be talking about different navigation. So how do we add an employee? So we'll have to go to a particular place. Okay. So what is that navigation? So how do we create a company? So you'll have to go to a particular place to create a company or to create a position. So those things I'll be explaining you here. I'll be sharing you this Excel sheet after the end of the training. Okay. But before that, if you want to have, or you want to make some, notes, you can do that. I'll be
And what
sharing you,
about
anyhow, I'll be sharing you the material which contains all of this information.
okay, and every day by end of the day you will share, or how it will be?
You mean the recording?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, recording
The
will be shared. Yeah, recording will be shared. After this session, maybe after 1 or 2 hours, we'll be getting the recording as well. So I don't recommend you to just watch the recording every day. When you practice, I don't want you to just open your recording and just see what I am doing and then do the same thing. No, I want you to recollect what we have discussed in the class and do it in the system. It is okay if you spend some additional time on the system. So that's how you learn. Okay, recordings are this can be used as a reference. Maybe some topics which you want to listen to it again, you can do that maybe once in a while. But don't make a habit of just opening the recording, just see what I am doing and do that in the system. No, don't do that.
Oh,
So this provisioning and our instance that we'll be seeing the examples, right? Once we going
Yeah,
forward, like what
you will
we
be
do.
getting access to instance,
Okay.
but we'll see the provisioning as well.
So both systems will be different, sir.
Both systems are different. That's what I said, right? Two types
Okay.
of system.
Okay. So this provisioning only during the initial stage of the project only we will do. Later that we'll not do much on provisioning, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Sir, even for this testing purpose also, for provisioning system, license is required, like anyone's is given, or how we
Sorry,
can.
can you come again?
For provisioning, we
Hmm.
require certification, you said, no, sir, but that is the starting one which we have to perform 5 to 10%. No?
Hmm.
So, as we are under training, so how that can be possible? Are you providing any credentials to perform for that activity? I'm asking.
Now, what did I say? Who can access provisioning?
Sorry, sir.
What did I say? Who can access provisioning system?
Certified consultant.
So are you certified?
No.
Then you will not get access to provisioning. But there are some prerequisites for accessing the provisioning system. The first and foremost would be your certification. Okay. And second part of it is you should be associated with one implementation partner. So what did we discuss about implementation partner? The authorized organizations who can implement success factors for consultants are implementation partner. Now, as a consultant, if you are a certified consultant, because you are a certified consultant, you will not get provisioning access. No, you should be associated with implementation partner. Once you are associated with partner, you will be getting provisioning access. Otherwise, everybody will go, learn success factors, get certified in success factors, and they'll say, no, I'll work for a customer. No, you cannot do that. So firstly, you should have certification. Second, you should be associated with implementation partner. Only then you'll get the provisioning access. See, we are not setting up the new system here. So the demo system, what we use, this is already configured. SuccessFactors gives the system access, okay, where all of these are already available in provisioning. For a new customer who doesn't have SuccessFactors system, there will be enabling all of these features. But the system what you are going to use, now this is pre-configured. All of the configuration exists, but we do it as a project. I'll show you what are to be enabled in the provisioning system. And in the instance when you do the configuration, we do it for our own customer, for our own company. Let's say we'll create one company. We'll create some departments. We'll hire employees. We'll configure some business rules. So all of this we'll be doing in instance. But enabling, so why we are able to do all of these things? Because all of these are enabled in the provisioning system.
Okay, got it, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So thank you all.
Sir,
Well,
once I want to talk with you sir, personally after this class. Can I?
yeah, you may ask your representative to arrange a call to speak in person.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.